Time now to put our panel here on the spot. We've given them a challenge of the last number of hours to come up with one rule change in football that would improve the product for you personally. Craig, we'll start with you. What would you do?
I would change the offside rule. I would make it, and this has been put forward to FIFA, it's certainly something they've been talking about. I think Arsene Wenger actually brought it up, was that make the offside rule that if any part of the body that can score and is level with the last defender is on.
So arms don't count?
Arms don't count, but any other part would count. And that would
that's a nice picture, by the way. That's a nice picture of you there.
Yeah, thanks.
Nice Photoshop.
Here it is. What do you think? What do you think, Terry? I mean, obviously the offside rule is the most controversial rule in football. It's been tinkered with over the years, but from what Craig's saying, you know, only that part of the body that you can score with, and if it's equal to the defender, then the attacking player has the benefit.
This is the first I've heard of it that we were discussing it. So I
Really?
Yeah, joking. I didn't really know when I said it in the first segment. This could be offside.
Oh, really?
Yeah. My first thought is
accidental mess up.
Yeah. You know, in hockey, where players like try to stay onside at the blue line,
drag their skates.
Yeah, drag their skates. Would we see a little bit of that?
No, because they're not on skates.
Oh, cool. I think you see more goals for sure.
Well, that's what I think we should encourage.
Which is kind of ironic
that.
coming from you.
Well, that's right. Well, now I'm retired. If I was still playing, I'd be like, no, I think you should be completely behind.
But isn't it? But VAR still ruins this because it's still a black and white issue. I mean, but before VAR, it's at the discretion of the referee to give it to the attacking player. But there's still a line to be drawn there, whether it's arm or not, whether it's your chest, whether it's your knee, your foot, your toe. There's still going to be that moment that seems very
armpit.
petty.
The
armpit. Yeah, but precisely that's been an issue, right, the last couple of years.
Yeah.
So it's not perfect.
No.
Without VAR, I think it could be perfect.
Yeah.
So well, I'm suggesting
I think I'm giving VAR a little bit of leeway here by saying that, okay, if we're looking at just before the chest is being off and how close it is, okay, let's push it a little bit further, and then we're not talking about giving any leeway here. I mean, it's just going to be black and white. If any part of the body that is level with the last defender, that player is on.
So it's almost like a ball. The whole ball has to be over the line for him to be offside.
Right.
Right. So daylight could be the key word there as well, right?
Mm-hmm. Nearly. Yeah.
All right. Well, it's got potential. Hopefully
I
they'll
think it's
listen to
going
you.
to come in eventually.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do.
Well, you need more changes for sure. Terry, I know you've been spending a lot of time agonizing over how to improve the game. What's your choice?
Yeah, it's a little bit current to right now, and it's the under 21 rule for Canadian Premier League that there's a number of minutes that must. What a bad photo! There must be so many minutes played, and I'm not a big fan of that, Craig. I think we need to see young players playing, but I really believe that young players must earn minutes, and they can't be given to you.
Do you think, though, that you're going to end up with a position where coaches are going to be put in place, like even youth coaches that are playing players that are good at the 12-year-old level or whatever, but they're not necessarily going to be the best players when they're 16, and some other players you know probably would develop, but you're looking at winning, and if the coach is into winning, that player doesn't get developed. If it happens in the CPL, does that not possibly put that into place where they're looking to actually win as opposed to try to develop?
So the perception of the Canadian Premier League is to be a top league. So when you've got a quota or you've got a rule saying there has to be so many development minutes, I think that takes away from that perception. And I think the way we get around it, to your point, would be let's structure the squads where you have to have so many under 21 players in the squad. You have to have so many Canadians in the squad, and you can do what you want with the rest of the players. So now if you don't play those under 21 players or the Canadian players, you're actually putting too much load on the other players in the squad. So if you've got 22 players, 6 have to be under 21, 10 have to be Canadian, and 6 can be from wherever. And then it's up to the coach's discretion how he uses that squad.
I like that too.
Yeah, I agree, but at the same time, a big part of the mandate for this league is to develop Canadian talent, young talent, and you've got to get the playing time for these kids too. Doesn't that protect them?
It does, but I still think one of the buzzwords right now is entitlement. And I still think you've got to earn those minutes. If I'm a senior player in that squad or a player, say, at 28, I've trained hard all week, and now all of a sudden the coach is saying, look, I've got to play this kid because of a rule, and he doesn't deserve to be out on that field right now, I'm not having that. And that's not professional soccer. If we want to be a professional league, I think on paper or in the boardroom, wherever they came up with that rule, it sounds great. But you look at Bobby Smirniotis in this tournament.
But that's where it gets murky, right? You know, this league, the CPL, yes, it wants to be a top league, you know, down the road eventually, but it's always going to have development at its very root. And I don't know if you can be both. If you can be both a top league and a developmental league.
And you get that from the squad, how you structure the squad.